Oh, I'm so excited about Friday Live today. Ask Fred. Thank you guys all for submitting your questions. We appreciate you giving us a heads up on what things are going, what challenges you're having in your journey to launch a product, app, or idea to market. And I'm going to bring Fred in here in just 1 second, but I wanted to take a moment to say hi to everyone while I have you here. So Lindsay, hi, and Mark, I think it's Marquez. Nice to have you. You had a great, very long question. So thank you for submitting your question early. Bill, Kelly, Stephanie, John over on YouTube. Thank you for joining us. Sean Reed. We have Jace, Jared, Odin, Genevieve, Michael, Jen. Thank you guys all. Whoa. Okay. So it keeps going. Christine, I'm glad to see you this week. Karen, great to see you. You always have such great questions too. So guys, I'm going to preface it with, please feel free to put in a question. If we have time, we will answer the questions from the feed. We did have people submit questions early, so we are going to cover as many questions as we possibly can. And we're all going to just dive in here. Hold on, Fred. I'm going to get you in. There we go. Are you with me? Can you hear me?
I can hear you loud and clear. Hi, everybody.
Wonderful. Excellent. So we had some questions that were submitted early. So I'm going to go ahead and start with those.
We're just going to start with questions. You're not going to say hello. Nothing.
I know. Well, I took a little while to say hi to everyone, but we can, Fred's, well, actually, you know what? I'm going to introduce Fred so you guys know why we ask Fred these questions. If you're new to the feed, Fred is co-founder and executive chairman of IdeaPros, but more than that, he has a lot of successful businesses under his belt. And Fred, do you want to just give us like a little high level of why it is that we all ask you these questions? What you have so many successes. Can you just give us a little rundown?
Yeah. I think people ask me questions not because of my successes, but because of what I learned from my failures. And we all have had failures, and a lot of them in most cases. And I've talked about this in other shows. You know, being crazy and being a failure are instrumental parts of being a successful entrepreneur. You don't just wake up in the morning, come up with an idea, and that evening your first $1 million check is made it to your bank account. There are a lot of stops and starts and twists and turns. And once every 100 years or so, a major pandemic that shuts the entire world down. And we need to be prepared for all of those things. So I think it's these gray hairs, thinning hairs, and receding hairline that causes people to want to know answers to. And I'm here to give those answers the best that I can. I love entrepreneurship. I love all you guys. And I want to work together with everybody, both our partners and any entrepreneur that wants to listen on how to make that journey a little bit safer and a little bit more likely to be successful.
Perfect. Well, I think that really sums it all up.
Right. See you next Friday then.
Right? No. We need to actually have the questions answered. You can't go yet.
Right.
So I have a few that I'm going to put up. And again, if you guys want to put your questions in the chat, we'll do our best to get to those. So the first one is Marquez, who basically, I said, what is your challenge? What are you really stuck on right now? And he said he's been having trouble establishing the necessary startup capital. So I don't know if you have so many resources. We have a couple articles too that I could pop in, but can you just explain some of the options they have for capital?
Yeah, and also if I had a big whiteboard behind me and I had 1,000 things that entrepreneurs have challenges with, that would probably be number one on my list. You know, it's an ongoing challenge. It's not just a challenge from the day you want to start, but it's a challenge throughout the entire process. When you get your product launched, when you receive this huge order, when you're trying to get to the next product that you're making, when your advertising team tells you need to increase your budget by 50%, but you don't have the capital, it lasts forever. So how do I get away from that challenge? You don't. You have to embrace that challenge, and you have to cut corners. Let's suppose that the necessary amount of capital that you're going to need to take a small business from inception to launch is a whopping $500,000 to $1 million, which it is. That's what it takes to do it right and to have a chance of getting anywhere. You don't have that kind of capital, and you don't have IdeaPros to partner with. Then get whatever you can and take those first steps. What happens is, in this journey, the further along you go, the more people become interested in what you're doing. So right now, if you have a concept and you want to turn that concept into the beginnings of a product, go get a cardboard box and paint it and put your logo on it and have that be your prototype. And I understand we're going to talk about prototypes later, but the point is, what do you need to take that first step? What do you need to take that third step? Don't look at what you need to go all the way through that process, because not everybody can do that. So take your idea, lay out a plan, lay out the different financial steps that you're going to need to accomplish to get there, and figure out, what do I need for step one? Okay, step one, I need $2,000. I want to do some validation. I want to do some competitor analysis. I'm going to do that all on my own, because I want to start laying out my position. Okay, it's going to cost me a couple grand. I'm going to get some research writers, and I'm going to figure that all out. Do that. Spend your $2,000. Don't worry about where that next money comes from. If you're a real entrepreneur, you're going to do it. You got to do it, because if you don't do it, you're just not going to feel right about yourself, and you're going to wake up every morning depressed and pissed off. So take that first step. Go borrow $2,000 from somebody or charge it on your credit card. Figure out what that step is. And by the way, we have a free checklist of the different steps you need in order to start. Maybe we should do that, Tessa. Just compartmentalize those steps and say, just do this. Get your first step of validation. Then after you do that, go to the next step. That next step is going to cost me $5,000. Where am I going to get $5,000? You go to your mom, your dad, your brother, your sister, your wife, your husband, your uncles, any relative, anybody that will stop and talk to you on the street. Find some way to get it and do that next step. And the further along you go in the process, the closer you are to reality. And the closer you are to reality, the more you're going to get people that have bigger checks that may be interested in what you're doing. So start making friends, look at angel groups that are around you, figure out which ones of your friends seem to have too much money all the time, and approach them, but don't approach them with your lame ass idea. Approach them once you've made these first 3, 4, 5 steps that you need to make, where you can sit down intelligently at a table and say, look, this is what I have. This is the problem it solves. This is why it solves that problem. This is why everybody's going to love this. And this is how much money we can make on this together. You have to have all those things, and then people start cutting checks on your behalf, step by step.
Step by step. So we do have the checklist, and it actually breaks down all of the phases. So if you're wondering what steps next, what steps first, it's got it all laid out, and you can actually check it off if you download it to your computer. So I stuck that link in the chat for you guys. Definitely a good resource to have, and it will help you to plan out your plan of attack.
Yeah.
You will.
Just remember, you're starting out with a blank canvas, right? And imagine going up to people who love art and going up there with that blank canvas and saying, you want to buy this? You're not going to get any action. When you start sketching it out and it starts looking interesting, you're going to get a subset of people that can see your potential and understand what's going on. You start filling in the colors, and then you're going to get another subset of people that are going to say, hey, you know what? I'm getting this now. And then well before you show up with that final image and that final painting, there are going to be more and more people that understand what you're doing, why it's important, and why they need to get involved now, rather than when that painting is finished and gets sold for $10 million.
Exactly. I love it. That's great. And so I don't know if you're in the chat with us, if that answered your question. I'm trying to scan through and find you, but if that answered your question, let me know in the chat, please.
Yeah, and if it didn't, that's all I got.
If it didn't, well, I think we have some resources. So we did do a Facebook Live where we went through all different kinds of ways to find capital. So yes, we have more resources. I am trying to find the blog post with that, and I will have us put that in the chat for you.
Yeah, but just to be clear on that particular question, it's not just about finding capital, it's finding capital. right? This is all you need right now. If you don't have those resources, if you don't have the ability to attract somebody with deep pockets or work with a company like ours, then find the capital you need every step of the way instead of looking for the whole picture. It's about the journey, and every single step you make towards that journey. In fact, I have a quote a day or two ago, and we have the official Fred Cary on Instagram right now. You guys might want to start following.
Yes.
I'm trying to do little inspirational quotes on a daily basis, and that's one of them. You know, it's this journey. Every single step you take in the journey, that's what is important. It's not the finish line, because if you're thinking about the finish line, you wake up every morning and you're at a loss. If you think about the journey and you made one step, and that journey in and of it, that step in that journey in and of itself is a victory, then you're going to wake up every day feeling victorious, motivated, and ready to go to that next step.
Oh, I love that. That's perfect. Well, I put in your official Instagram. So if you guys would like to give Fred a follow, that would be awesome. And that quote is up there. It won't let me give a link directly to that quote, oddly.
Well, that's because I think I butchered it, but you get the point.
We got it. That's perfect, though. So when really, how do you find the right companies for your product? And this, I don't know, because they submitted the question if it's companies or if it's target audience. So we'll just assume that it's target audience.
Well, and it could be, how do I find the right companies that want to license my product? Right?
So maybe take both angles.
Yeah, this is only a half-hour show, but let me try that. The first thing you need to know is who that audience is, right? Whether, which is the thrust of the question, but you need to know that ahead of time. You need to know that as you're designing that product. If you don't, then you have tactics without a strategy. And Tessa, you know how I always scream about that all the time, right? Every single thing you do in your business life, in fact, everything you do in your personal life, should be about the greater picture, the greater strategy. And if you just start tinkering and building and have all these tactics about, I'm going to build this really cool purple widget or golden widget, and you don't have the end game already thought of and laid out, even if that end game can change over time when you get new information, if you don't have that longer term plan, then everything you're doing is meaningless, because you might be building in this direction and the audience you want's over here. So how do you find them? You find them right from day one. I have something, I think it's a great idea, I think it can make a difference. This is the problem it solves, like I said before. If this is why this solution is going to be great to solve that problem. And this is a problem that people really have and want to do something about. There are problems that people don't know they have. I had a perfect example of that yesterday with somebody who might be a new partner. This is a problem none of us know we have, but as soon as he explained it to me, I thought, wow, this is a problem all of us have. But that's very unusual. In most cases, you're going to have a situation where you can see right away there's a problem that you're trying to solve, because that's why you're thinking about it in the first place. So when you go through that process, who are you solving that problem for? Well, this is my audience. Now you've identified the right audience. You want to confirm that by doing consumer surveys, or if it's a business-to-business product, by doing focus groups to make sure you're on the right track. If instead this is about a licensing deal, you still need to know who those people are, right? I have a beauty product, and I've done surveys. I know who my audience is. For this product, it's women between 18 and 34, let's just say, this one particular product. I know who they are. And I know that I'm building for that audience. But at the end, I want to license this product. You're not going to license a product if you haven't done this beginning part. You know, you have those scam companies out there that say, hey, we're going to get you a patent and we're going to get you a licensing deal, and you have your brilliant idea and you just draw it out. We'll get you a provisional patent. We're going to pass it around to 500 companies and you're going to be a millionaire. No, you're not. You're not going to be anything except out the $8,000 or whatever they charge you. The way to get a licensing deal is to do all those same steps. Identify your audience, build for that audience, find a way that you have a compelling solution to what that audience wants. Survey that audience. So let's suppose on the survey side, I decide my wonderful beauty product, I want to sell it to Revlon. Now I'm going to survey a bunch of people that use Revlon and they live and die and swear by Revlon. I'm going to approach all of those people and I'm going to say, hey, if Revlon had this product in their mix, how likely would you be to buy it? Now I have 90% of Revlon's customers telling me and then telling Revlon that if you take this, I want to buy it. And so now you approach Revlon, preferably through somebody who has a connection, because you're not gonna go to one of those forms and fill it out and get any type of response. You need to find a connection to get you in there, a licensing expert. But now you're gonna go to them armed to the teeth. And even if you did some pre-sales and got a whole bunch of email addresses of 20,000 people, 50,000 people that were interested in this product, now your guy or gal can go to Revlon and say, here's what your customers say, here's what the general community says, here's my awesome new product, and would you license it with me? That's how you do it.
That's awesome answer. You covered both of them really well. You're on fire today.
Today, Tessa? Jesus.
I guess.
Stop now. Wait,
no, we got a few more because I can't disappoint. We have a couple more to go. So I do think that the next one is about the prototype, and I know this
I just saw this.
Oh, sorry. Okay.
Question from Kevin Walker. No, I'm not, but I don't get in my political opinions in the way. However, why have I never worked for a multinational? Because I like to start multinationals. If you go to Imagine Communications, it's a multinational organization. We have employees on every continent, and 75% of the television viewers in the world use some of our product set. I started that company. We did $20 million in our first year. It grew. I became a passive party and handed over the keys, and now it does $750 million a year all over the world. I could never run a company like that. I would shoot myself on day one. For me, it's all about the growth and the energy that comes into working with startups. All right.
Okay, now I'll go back. Thank you for your question. Now we'll go on to prototype. What's the prototype process like?
All right, thank you for another vague question.
Well,
I'll try to be more specific.
Let me just say it was probably even more vague than that. I put like a question mark on it for it to have a little definition.
All right, Rhonda, I'll tell you anyway. It's very expensive, number one. When you build a prototype, you cannot believe that I'll go back to my golden widget, this tiny little widget, they want $8,000 to build this one little thing for you so you can have a representation of what it is that you're going to be building fundamentally. Yes, Aziza, I am independent. I go with the flow and with my heart tells me. But in any event, it's a very expensive product to do. Have this one little product that maybe does some of what you need and doesn't do it very well. Do I need a prototype? Maybe that's a better question. And the answer is, yeah, in most things you do need a prototype. But I've been rethinking that whole process lately myself. I've been working with a few guys that have done a lot of things with smoke and mirrors. And so then even better than my question is, how good of a prototype do you need? And these guys, we're going to go on crowdfunding, and they have an electronic product. They knew what the guts, the little wiring inside this product was, and they just basically built a little plastic box themselves, put the electronics in it, and used that as a prototype to show their audience what the product was all about. They mocked it all up. They went and did crowdfunding. They raised $700,000. I was going to say 700 million, but that's a different company. They raised $700,000 with this little box that they created in their garage. We don't always have that luxury, and there are other reasons to use a prototype as well. Prototypes are necessary in the manufacturing process before you get ready to manufacture. that's a step in the process. You want to see what it looks like, what it feels like, whether or not what you're thinking here and what was drawn in 2D on paper really looks the same, looks right, feels right in its physical form. So, and that's my little dog, Greek, somebody in her own way. So they're necessary. They can be costly. You can cut corners to do it. But somewhere along the line, you are going to have to deal with a prototype.
Got it. Good thing to know for sure. I know good drawings before you have the final prototype are helpful, like Fred said, in getting capital along the way. So, you know, there's things that you can do that don't take you all the way there yet. So Fred, actually, I don't know if you have to go, but I know we have only a couple more minutes. I have one question that's about Facebook.
Oh, no, I don't have to go anywhere.
He's like, no, I got this. So this one's about Facebook, and I'm definitely going to chime in on this because I have an opinion because I'm on Facebook and doing marketing a lot. But Facebook did announce shops, but it's not something that's entirely new. I think with COVID, they've just made it a little bit easier to get your shop going, and it's tied with Instagram. But I'm learning just as much about if there's anything new and cool that they've attached to it. But as soon as I find out, I will share with you guys. But they do have shops easier for you to integrate and connect to your systems. And Instagram has the purchasing capability so that you can actually buy from there. So they're trying to make it easier for people to not have to go full e-commerce and to be able to tie it into social posts. So that's my opinion about it. Fred, if you have anything else you want to add to that, you're more than welcome.
I'm not going to really have an opinion whether it's going to be successful or not. I don't know. They've done, Facebook groups and things that didn't really turn out to be used by very many people. Not certain. You can't do everything for everybody. Facebook historically has been an entertainment place that where you would go and share stories and photos and have all your fake friends that you could feel important with. And actually, it's a process. Even now, forget the Facebook shop. It's a process converting a Facebook user into a customer, because that's really not why people come to Facebook in the first place. So I'm not sure about Facebook shops. You need to instead think about, I have a product and I want to be able to sell that product in as many verticals as I possibly can. So Facebook shops or Amazon or going online or any of those things, Etsy, whatever, those are just different vehicles you have. Just work on your idea and then think about as many relevant opportunities that you have to expose your product. There are things that we're doing a lot more now regarding affiliate sales. And affiliate sales, your product can be in hundreds of thousands of different places at once. So don't just focus in on, is this one particular thing going to be the next great revolution or not? No, it's not. It's going to just one more place where you can sell your stuff. You just need to figure out, is my audience there? Can I reach them cheaply enough? And can I compel them when they come to what I have to make a purchase? Because after all, that's not typically why people are on Facebook.
Right. Well, I know we have a couple people in here that are commenting about their specifically, Kristen with social media, and we know what you've got coming, Kristen. So I just want to say, I see you all of you partners. I know we didn't get to all of the questions. So
Lindsay had a question. That,
I know I didn't know if you wanted to put it up. So
well, I just got the never give up on your dream part of it, but I know she had a question. When do you know when to move on? No, never move on.
Never move on. I like what Sean said too. Like, never give up.
Yeah. Let me tell you why. You have a really great idea. You recently thought about different ways to present that idea. Now maybe it's time to think about the cardboard box prototype that we could put together. Why don't you see me next week, Lindsay? And Diana, can you make sure that Lindsay has an appointment with me? And let's put our brains together again, okay? Never give up. This is your baby, your idea. When it comes out, maybe your baby's not gonna look anything like what you expected it to look like. It's gonna be beautiful, and so never give up. And you are amazing. See me, and we're gonna find a way to make it happen.
I think too, you have that. We've talked about that passion. You have that passion. I see it all over you on social media. So you just, there are ups and downs, right? So you just got to have that passion, that legacy that you're really shooting for, that's keeping you going when things are getting rough. Because we've talked about it. There's a lot of ups and downs in entrepreneurship as a whole, but also in specifically getting a product or app to market. It's particularly challenging.
Look, as entrepreneurs, we only have two choices, right? And that's either continue following that dream or not. And when you choose not, then every day for the rest of your life, you're going to hate your guts. It's just the way being an entrepreneur is all about that. And you're going to wait, why didn't I do this? And 5 years later, somebody comes out with something similar, and now you're completely freaking out and telling all your friends that you thought of that 5 years ago. So I'm not telling you every single entrepreneur is going to be successful. That's the farthest thing from the truth. But every entrepreneur has dreams and visions, and they want to move forward. And ultimately, you're leaving a legacy behind, and we focus on that all the time. We talk about that all the time. Let's suppose I'm working for 5 years on a product and I can't quite get it there. I still taught lessons to my children and to people around me. And that lesson is that you can do anything. You should never give up. You should always try. There's got to be a way. And if there isn't, if you're the person that climbed almost all the way up Mount Everest but failed, you still climbed almost all the way up Mount Everest. So life's a mountain, and it's a hard climb. But if you don't make the climb, you're never going to see what's on top.
Well, thank you for the final thought for today, Fred. I think that's just about perfect. Thank you guys all so much. Any of the questions that we didn't get to, we go back through and look at all of the comments on the Facebook posts. So we will go back and add those to a future one, and hopefully answer anything we can in the comments. Come back and see us on Fridays at noon Pacific time.
And Marquez says, sorry, I'm late. This is recorded. You're going to be able to watch it all over again. Go grab some popcorn and see it tonight.
Right. And we did have someone that was saying they couldn't find us they're over on YouTube, and so they couldn't find us on Facebook. I will put a link for you to get reminders. You can always just have us email or text you. So bypass all of that.
I think Facebook sucks in that regard too. I try to find our damn videos on Facebook. Sometimes it takes me half an hour. So sympathy.
Yeah, there is a live page that's on Facebook. And again, I'll put that link in here too. So you can always go to that. On Friday, if you come in at noon, it will start. But sometimes when you come in, you'll have to hit refresh. If you're sitting there waiting, just hit refresh, and it's the top of the hour, unless Fred's, trying to push me to the last minute.
Wait, I gotta stop you for one thing, because one thing that Diana always complains about with me is that when I write my name Fred, a lot of times it comes out Feed, and somebody just said, thank you, Feed and Tessa. So yes, that's just me, Diana. All right, guys, have a great weekend, okay? Happy Memorial Day. I'm sure you're going to be at home having a great virtual party, and maybe we should do that. That's on Monday. We'll invite people over for a virtual pool party. Bring your Speedos.
Thank you all. We'll see you next week. Bye.
So long.